group? Any chemistry majors? Oh, no chemistry majors. The reason I bring that up, I was in the back, I was looking at the periodic table, and I found there's an element missing off the periodic table. Very important element, so we're going to have this chart rearranged, redone, fixed, whatever. Anybody know the element that's missing? It's very obvious. I'm sure you should pick up on it. It's the element of safety and security. At least give me a boo, hiss, something, okay? It's okay. Just checking, making sure you're awake. All right? In your handouts, my name is Miles Heckendorn. I'm the Public Safety Director at St. Cloud State University. I'm in my 15th year, 41 years in the business. I started when I was 12. You're still awake. All right, I'm just checking. We're going to work on that part. I want to talk with you about the what-if game, sort of playing the what-if game. In your packets, and this includes the parents or guests or grandparents or whomever here, as well as the students, you have a white paper. It's about 12, 13 pages long, and we do not have time to cover all that. Are you my timekeeper? They keep me on a tight time frame. I will talk to you all day about this if I was given the opportunity. Just bore the living daylights out of you. But it's that important. So what I want to do, take out the handout. We're going to follow through. It gives you a chance to make notes, and parents, you should have a copy as well. And the reason I say that is this is a topic that I believe is relevant to all of us, and it's very important that you have the information as well. So this is what we're going to start off. We only have the ability to hit the highlights. And I do move, and I apologize to the cameraman. But we need to cover a lot of information and share with you. We're going to play, if you look at the top of that paper, the very first page, it gives you a number of 308-3333, 320-308-3333. I want you to know right off the bat, that's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week phone number directly to the Public Safety Department here at St. Cloud State University. This is if you need to get hold of somebody back in the States and you're studying abroad, and you're away from your group. You might, as you saw the photos, you might be going down to Paris for a break in the semester, because you will have breaks and you will have a chance to do some side traveling, which will be very supportive of your educational endeavors. And you may have a situation where something might happen that you need to do that. Parents, for some reason, you may need to get hold of your student while he or she is studying abroad, or your sibling if you're a spouse or whoever it is that's studying abroad. So you may need to have that number. We are here 24/7. You will not get, hi, this is your friendly digital public safety recording, push 2 if you've been had a theft, push 3 if you need somebody, we'll call you next week kind of a thing. You will get a real person. 24 hours a day. It is a collect call. It's a collect call from anywhere in the world. We will accept collect calls. I don't have an 800 number set up yet, but I want to get there. But that's for you. We want to be the center in the hourglass to get you in touch with parents, to get you in touch with people from the Center for International Studies, the education abroad, whomever they may be, whenever it might be. We recognize time differences. So we're going to play the what-if game with me for a few minutes, if you would, and share these experiences and these ideas. So what if, excuse me, what if you're in a situation where you're here in St. Cloud or in Big Lake or Minneapolis, and all of a sudden you get a call from your father or mother who happens to be in Florida. And they said, your daughter is trying to get hold of you in her study abroad travels. She's in a hospital off the island of Naples, on an island called Ischia in southern Italy. And you say, what is she doing there? She's supposed to be in England at the castle studying abroad. And nobody there at the hospital speaks English. What would you do? How would you react to that kind of a situation? You are a parent sitting here at home in St. Cloud at a computer in your house at 2 o'clock in the morning. And you're on board on a phone and a computer in front of you is going because the asthma medication you sent to your son or daughter in Australia, they won't let it go through customs because you didn't give a number or a specific detail in the elements that's contained in the asthma medication to let it through customs, so you've got to work that out with them. Or what if you are in a situation where your son or daughter is studying abroad and you're sitting at your computer at your work and you're getting ready to go home, so you check your email one more time before you leave. And you see this come up, you see an email address that you don't recognize, but the title of it is Dad, Small Problem in Mozambique. Again, You think she or he is in South Africa, and you wonder what's going on. In this scenario, what happened is the group of students at South Africa had gone to Mozambique on a side trip, and one of the women students had her purse stolen while she was in Mozambique. And in that purse, she had her digital camera, all of her digital memory cards for her camera, her passport, her identification, her driver's license, all of her documentation. Crazy as it may sound, she actually got the passport back through a local radio station in Mozambique. She did lose all of her digital memory cards and her digital camera and her cash and so forth, but it was a trying experience. The important one was, of course, the passport. Or you didn't talk about anything like this before your son or daughter left, but you need to call him or her and share with them that while they've been abroad, one of the grandparents has passed away. And what are you going to do? Is that student going to come home, or is that student going to stay and finish the semester? Now, these are just 4 examples of possibilities. Do we want them to happen? No. Could they happen? Yes. These are all true stories of students at St. Cloud State University who have gone studying abroad, and I know them to be true because I'm the parent in all 4 of those situations. I started with dark brown hair. Yeah. They are true. Yes, they bring back memories. I asked there was a constable that I worked a lot with in Northern England at the castle at Alnwick. So this is applicable to you folks. I just want you to read. This is several years old, but I'd like you to read it. We talked earlier about the students talked about how much cash do I take with me? What do I need to do? This happened on the very first evening that a group arrived from St. Cloud State for a semester at Alnwick, and they were downtown at one of the pubs. Probably having a beer and some sandwiches. Bar food and pub food is fantastic in England. I'm going to tell you that right. Alnwick has the best fish and chips. I can tell you where to go get it. But this is what he said about carrying cash. So I just leave it for you to read. So these are things to think about. How much cash should your student take in American money? Should you go ahead and get some pounds, British pounds, before you go over? These are things to talk about. What I'm sharing with you today are things to think about, talk about, work with your folks, work with your parents, work with your banks, work with your credit card companies. We only have time to hit the highlights as we were told and shared with you. So please bear with me. We'll run through a lot of information sharing. It is all in your handouts. It's all in your handouts, but you may want to make some notes as we go through it. Where we end up with is a situation where we have students that we talk about it, and then you're going to get them to the airport. And 1 or 2 of them may not want to get out of the car. They're going to start there. And it's going to end up that you will have trouble getting them back sometimes. They will catch a disease while they're there. Health services will not cover that this afternoon or later this morning in the presentation. The one disease they will catch is called the travel bug. They will get the travel bug, and you can never, ever lose it. This is the number, as I said, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Here are some things just to talk about budget-wise in your list of things. What credit cards do I want to take? Remember that it costs more to use cash advances on credit cards, higher interest rates, generally speaking, than with purchases. You may want to get, as they talked about, credit card or use of credit cards from a credit union versus a bank. Watch your interest rates. You don't want to overdraft or overdraw your credit cards because that changes interest rates. You may have started out with an interest rate of 6.99 or 8.99%, and all of a sudden it's 29.99. We used to call when I was a law enforcement officer, we used to call that a crime of different names, and flim-flam and theft and that larceny and all of those things. Now they call it banking. So you need to be careful of those things. You want to talk with your credit card companies. You want to let them know you're taking the cards with you. They will ask you questions, especially with fraud protection now. They will ask you things like, you'll need to give me a 5-minute notice when I'm up to 5. Okay. They'll let you know about what interest rates, they'll ask you what countries are you going to, how long are you going to be gone, where are you going. You want to address these things with your banks, with your credit cards. You want to check about overdraft protection. Will your bank or your credit card company allow you or afford you any kind of overdraft protection? I have overdraft protection with my bank I have my maiden credit card I take with me from my bank, so it directly goes out of my checking account or whatever account I have it set up with, and it does have overdraft protection. My bank has allowed that. Banks are starting to not allow that as much or support that as much, but if I were to overdraft it. One of the things in England, I'm going to the ATM machine downtown at one of the banks right in the main street of Little Atlantic, England, and I put my credit card in and it doesn't work. And I'm going, oh no, what's wrong? I panicked, as the student said earlier. Well, I didn't realize the time difference. I had set up a limit of amount that I could take out of my account each day, and it was we were 6 hours behind here. So when it was 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, it's still on last night's computer time log for the banking processing. It hadn't gotten to the new day yet, and so therefore it wouldn't let me use it for a few hours. So these are little things that will save you panic as we run through these kinds of situations. Loss prevention, personal injury, you will definitely want to have reports filed. You will definitely want to have documentation on it. You will have some insurance they talked about, but you'll want to check about homeowners insurance, renters insurance. Do you want to carry any other kind of insurance or take any other kind of insurance with you? Does your homeowners insurance cover any loss or theft? These are issues to be concerned about. Power of attorney. Power of attorney could come into play. These are little things that we share with you because it might be something you need. My daughter was on the island of Ishka in the hospital. Nobody there spoke English, and my first thought was, what if one of us has to go? Do one of your parents have their passport? Should they have to go? Because they cannot stop an entire program if something were to happen to one individual student. It would be our family's responsibilities to be supportive of the educational mission and concept not only of our student, but the whole program in support of being able to do what we can do to help and assist in those ways. Things to think about. Prescriptions. They talk about prescriptions. I used to say don't ever put any of your medication anywhere but on your person in your backpack and keep it with you on your carry-on luggage. Don't put it in the belly of the plane. Don't put it in the suitcase that goes in the train car where the luggage gets stored. But there's a balance there. You want to think about things. We actually had a person lose we were leaving from Denmark to go to Sweden by train, and the person lost their medication on the train, and we got to Sweden. She did not have her medication with her, but she had a 3-day supply in her backpack. So we were able to get medication to her and for her replaced and involved and supportive of that effort or concern. So medications, if you have a narcotic, you want a letter from your doctor. If any of your medications actually has a narcotic in it, you want a letter on letterhead stationery from your doctor to take with you as documentation in support of that. All documents. Will have a list, a potpourri of documents that you will have with you, from your student insurance card, your passport, and so forth and so on. You will want to make 2 copies of that. You will want to make 2 complete copies of every document you're taking with you. That includes the backs of your credit cards as well as the front. Why the backs?
Phone number?
Has all the international contact phone numbers as well as the 800 numbers for the United States. Plus it has your secret squirrel number on the back. Sometimes you might need that secret squirrel number to use that credit card. So you want to make copies of all of that. Two sets of everything. And you want to do it in color. What's the word that jumps out at this slide? The word color, because it's in color. It just looks a little more authentic. Go ahead, spend the time. One thing you can do, I was told about, that's really an intelligent way to do it as well. Oh, first of all, do you know why 2 copies? One to take with you as the person going abroad, and the other copy for whom? It's for us at home. Now, we can't get it to you in a timely fashion, but it makes us feel good. That we feel like we have some control and some power. We don't, but it makes us feel good. So leave a copy with us, your parents at home, to help us out. It makes us feel good. One of the things you can do, take all your documents that you will taking with you, fronts and backs of it, scan it. Scan it and then send it in a file to your own account, to your own computer account, so you can bring it up if you're in wherever country you're in, you can bring it up and print it out from there. So put it in, but make sure it's a locked, secured account. This would be very hard to pirate or break into. Communication is the name of the game. We have Skype. My son lives in Norway with his family, and we Skype almost every day, and we Skype on the computer on weekends, and I do it on my cell phone with him, and so forth and so on. So it's a situation where communication is the name of the game. If you're taking a phone with you, do you really want to? You have to let, just like the credit card companies, you have to let your phone company know you're taking the phone with you, what country we'll be using it for. My daughter got to the point with her travels, she would end up buy what she called disposable phones. When she went to Australia, she ended up buying a phone there. You put minutes on a card, you put the card in the phone and you use it there and you leave it there or give it to somebody who's coming for the next trip. It's a lot less expensive to do those kinds of things instead of using international calls that bounce all the way from Annick, England to the United States to back to the phone call you're calling in England. So those are the kind of things that you want to think about, you want to talk about. How do you want to communicate? How do you want to be able to be in contact with each other? Are you going to do it on a routine schedule? Everybody going to Annick? Right? They've got computers set up right in the rooms. Not in the rooms, but there's a couple of rooms just outside the classrooms that have that kind of information. Do I get 5 extra minutes because we started 5 minutes late? Yeah, I think I'm going to take it because I'm not done yet. Keep it rolling. All right. Which way do you want to do it? I know that there are some satellite phones in England at the castle. The university has purchased some of the satellite phones at Annick that I believe you'll be able to use.
Yeah, everyone gets a cell phone in Annick.
They do?
Yeah.
Thank you. So you'll have cell phones in Annick to be used in that area, right? And it's a great setup at Annick. You in the United States, or you going abroad? You going abroad, do you know the emergency phone numbers for in England? Is it 911? No, it's not. That's in your book. I've added that to the back, to the last page of that white handout. I've added those contact numbers for you. It's attached in your handout so that you have that information. But what about those of us who are staying here? What if we have to make a call? Do we know the country code for England? And do we know the city code if there's a city code? Little things that in a panic or a stressful situation will be involved in these scenarios. So we want to provide you with this information. Communication will be the name of the game. And there's certain ways you have to call these numbers and so forth. Just check on these things early. Talk with the professors. The professors who are leading this group know this type of information. They've done it before. They have this information. They can share it with you. They can keep the stress level way down, both for those of us who are staying behind and those who are going. Actually, I will be there before you will. We're taking a 4-week group of criminal justice students to study in England and Ireland this summer. So we'll be leaving the castle just before you get there. Things to think about. Health insurance. What's the worst thing you can think of? It's waking up into Castle in Annick, England. You're ready for a field trip and you have a toothache. Right? Worst thing I can think of. So these are things to take care of. Eyes, glasses, contact lenses, prescriptions, medications, dental checkup, physical if necessary. Types of special concerns that you'll have or need when you get home for while you're away from home. Does someone else at home have his or her passport so that if needed they could come and assist or stay with you and help you out if something out of the ordinary were to happen in those kind of situations. Common sense on the streets is very important. This is all in your handout. There's a lot of things that cannot be done overseas that can help here. Consulates can do limited things, and none of them have to include getting out of jail free cards or anything of that nature. So just be careful. Use common sense when it comes to all of these things. It's a situation where common sense, when I go to Minneapolis, St. Paul, our one daughter and her family live in St. Paul. When I go downtown St. Paul, downtown Minneapolis, the first thing I do is reach in my back pocket. I take my wallet out of my back pocket and I put it in my front pocket. Just like that. Does it make any difference to anybody? Probably not, but it's much harder to pickpocket. Studying abroad is just no different than going to a situation or a city, Detroit, Chicago, Los Angeles, Miami, wherever it might be. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. You want to keep this safe. I'm going to challenge this group because you're going to the castle. I want to tell you a couple things very quickly. Things to not take with you. When my father passed away, I got this ring I'm wearing. It was my father's ring. Then my sister said, no, that wasn't just our dad's ring. That was his dad's ring. This ring does not go with me this summer. When I leave for 4 weeks in England and Ireland, it will be put in the safety deposit box at the bank. It will not go with me. I cannot afford to lose it. It's not money value. I don't care. The sentimental value, the personal value is greater than any amount of money I could think of. It will not go with you. Do not take anything with you. Don't take grandma's brooch. Don't take grandpa's pocket watch. Don't take anything that you can't afford to lose with you. Leave it home. Again, talking about carrying medications, things, education. On your handout on page 8 are some websites. Those are very good websites. I've checked them. I checked them 3 weeks ago. They're still all updated. Especially one, the ones that deal with federal travel abroad, study abroad websites. You can go on there and you can find out all kinds of good stuff. That's where I got all the phone numbers for international codes for calling cities abroad, or how to get hold of the police, the law enforcement in Anik, or in England or Italy, or any side trips you might go on. It's all in there. You can pull those up. Those are good websites. They're up to date, and they're just jam-packed with information, not only for students going abroad, but also for parents who are staying home or who might visit. By the way, they can come. We'll talk about parents coming over.
We'll talk about that this afternoon. Parents are invited to come, and friends and family to Castle and stay.
You will be there for a semester. Parents, if there's any way possible, go see them. Go stay in the castle. The castle was built as a fort in 1093 AD. It's over 1,000 years old. It's talked about as a fort in William the Lionheart. William the Lionheart. If you go out of the castle and walk up the hill instead of going down in the city, you'll see what looks like a grave marker. And there's some wrought iron fence in front of it on the narrow little sidewalk, and a little stone wall, little short stone wall. And here looks like a grave marker. It's not a grave marker. It says here something, I'm paraphrasing, here in 1183 or 1143, William the Lion, King of Scotland, was captured during the siege of Anik. You will be living history at that castle. You'll be living history, 1,000 years worth of it. You'll go visit Edinburgh Castle in Scotland, Edinburgh, the castle, and you'll come back, and while you're up there, you'll be doing a tour, and you'll have the headset on. And you'll go to the little chapel on the top of the hill inside the Edinburgh Castle, and it says, here Mary grieved the loss of her husband, the king, who was killed during attacking the Anik Castle. That's the second king, a king and one of his sons. There's a marker out in the pasture beyond the little Anik River that runs through there. You will live history, 1,000 years old. It's an opportunity very few people get. We're very spoiled. Take advantage of it. Be safe, study hard, and play hard. Thank you very much.